It's the battle of Wall Street versus Main Street with the Walt Disney Company. We're here to tell you why 2024 could be one of the hardest years in the history of modern Disney. Folks, we're going to give you such a degree of information that you will walk away now understanding exactly why we're not pixie dust haters, but rather we simply know why the math adds up that Nelson Peltz is telling Bob Iger, yes, I'll see you later. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are so happy to have you here as we start a brand new class. And no, there is absolutely no tuition because you all are here on scholarship. Congratulations as we dive into the topic of why 2024 could be a very hard year for Disney. Welcome, Vash Sky, back to the channel. Happy to have you again, sir.
Happy to be back. By the way, very generous to give everybody scholarships, bro. I didn't foresee that, but...
Vash, that's not all. You are now Professor Emeritus. So congratulations, sir. Yes. I look forward to you walking across the stage with all of your fancy Harry Potter attire one day. Let's get right into it, though, folks. Here we go. This from Scott Gustin, and we'll zoomify in just a wee bit on this so you can see it better. This is Scott Gustin. We like Scott Gustin. Don't know if he likes us, but we like him. He's a jolly fella, and he's always putting out great information on X. Now, here's what he's got. We covered this in the morning video talking about the situation with Star Wars, but now we're going to talk about Disney at large. Folks, we're going to break down the company Disney in high resolution across different areas. We're starting with the box office. So why is 2024 going to be a very big pain in the mouse? Well, here's why. Talking about, just came out, The First Omen. Vash, did The First Omen, did that blow away the box office? Did it blow away theater owners?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it, so
that's
probably
a great
not.
answer, Vash. That's the best answer you could give. Coming up in May, we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm sure it will do fine. I don't think it's going to be the biggest movie ever. On the 31st, we have Young Woman and the Sea. Again, I don't see that doing well. And then, Vash, in June 14th, we've got Inside Out 2. Now, this is going to be the barometer that we all need to look towards. Because, Vash, Inside Out 2 is based on a film that made about $900 million at the box office in 2015. It is also a sequel, which means it should do better. It is also going to be floating along with inflation, which should mean that this is an easy billion-dollar winner. If Inside Out 2 comes in, somewhere around $400 million to $500 million at the box office, it is disaster time for Disney in ways that you can't even imagine. It is every red flag goes up on the castle. This needs to make $1 billion to stay pat with the original. And I just have a feeling that making Anxiety the leading character is going to be a tough sell for parents. But Vash, do you think Inside Out 2 will be the redemption of Disney animation after the terrible destruction that was Wish, which, by the way, was a culmination of things like Lightyear and Strange World and so much else?
I don't think so. Because Inside Out 2, I mean, you have Pete Docter there as the head of the studio right now. He hasn't necessarily performed in that role. In fact, a lot of people who have been necessarily taken from projects as maybe as producer or as director and so forth really haven't flourished in their roles. I would say that for Jennifer Lee, Kathleen Kennedy is a notable example, obviously, and Pete Docter. I mean, he just hasn't been the creative force that I think a lot of people were hoping that he would be, especially post John Lasseter right here. So with him, as the head there, I just don't see it from what we're seeing from Inside Out 2. I mean, a lot of it was just a collective sigh. I know you guys were on a Valiant Renegades podcast when they, or Valiant Renegades show covering the shareholders meeting when they debuted a clip of Inside Out 2, and it was a collective doesn't look very strong. So
no,
I don't think there's a lot of enthusiasm going in that film.
So Doctor and Jennifer Lee, they're the two heads of Disney's animated movies. Neither seems to be doing quite well in the moment. Now, beyond that, we've got Kinds of Kindness. That will do nothing. Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, that could be a huge success. Alien Romulus coming out in the middle of August, which tells you what they think of it. Because there are no movies, folks, this year. because of the Hollywood strikes, there's so few movies that you could put a movie anytime you wanted. So, I wish Alien would be good. They're putting it in August. That tells you what they think of it. August is one of the worst months you can put out a movie. Then we go to October. We've got A Real Pain. That's going to do nothing. Then we have Moana 2, followed by Night Blank, and finally Mufasa, The Lion King. Now, Moana 2 is an interesting one, Vash, because this was one of the weapons used to block Nelson Peltz. And so Moana 2, it was announced just before the prior quarterly earnings report. Now, when that happened, there was amazement. It was like gasps all over the internet. The public could not believe it because a Disney musical usually takes 5 years to make. They're going to try to make this in 6 months. So Moana 2, the danger here is that's their biggest princess franchise, and it's not even close. Right. It's their most popular Disney animated movie right now, and it has been for years. If they put out one that's a cheap cash grab, but the quality is missing, they will forever damage their most important and valuable princess brand. So, Vash, what do you think about that?
I am very nervous about Moana 2 for the reasons that you stated right there, but also too, I mean, this is going out to the Vancouver studio, which hasn't worked together before in any official capacity, and was just set up, I think, in 2021 with a crew of about 100. Now it's about 400 doing their first feature animated film right here. With an inexperienced director, he has never necessarily directed anything of this scale before.
Nice guy, though, Vash. Everybody says he's a nice guy, and I'm rooting for him. I don't want this to fail. I don't want this to have something to enjoy this holiday season in the movies. How could I not?
Oh, sure. I know. I don't want it to fail either, and I don't want this to do poorly. I'm not meaning, I don't have any ill will towards these animators and towards the staff right here. I'm just saying they're up against it right here. I mean, by July, they want this thing to be fully rendered and going out right there.
We're pulling for the home team, Vash. We're just looking at them down by 4 in the 9th inning, and we're saying it's a tough thing to do. So, Vash, let's look at the full roster, though. Okay,
let's go,
folks. Okay, listen, ladies and gentlemen. We're not trying to be just nonstop negative Disney when we say that 2024 is going to be rough. Here's the numbers. Math doesn't lie. Okay, of those movies, here are the ones that actually have a chance to put a dent in the box office. Planet of the Apes, 1. Inside Out, 2, maybe. Deadpool and Wolverine, 3. I can't put Alien Romulus on here. There's no way. Moana 2, 4. Mufasa the Lion King, 5. There are 5 films total for this year coming out from Disney, Vash, that have a chance to generate significant profit. 5 total. There have been years when that number was double digits for Disney. So you got to do it off 5. And of those 5, maybe 2 are solid. 3 are shaky. So that's where we're coming up with that in terms of not being enthusiastic about Disney's chances at the box office. Vash, your thoughts?
Well, do we know how much the company has invested in things like Mufasa and so forth? I mean, that's really the critical thing here, because one can assume, okay, well, if the expense associated with these films aren't necessarily that high, you can say, hey, maybe it's all good. Maybe it doesn't have to perform to these levels right here. But from what I understand, Mufasa, that's got to be an expensive picture.
I'm going off my memory, Vash. I think Mufasa is $250. Moana 2 has not been released because it's not done yet in terms of the budget. Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't know the budget on Deadpool and Wolverine. Inside Out 2 has been reported at $180 to $200. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think actually was not as expensive as you would have expected. I think it's sub $200. I think these are all very expensive.
They're all very expensive. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think, could be solid for them. I think the overperformer is going to be Deadpool.
It might make $500 million.
Yeah.
I don't see it going up where. I mean, you got to remember, just a couple years ago, Disney was $1 billion play on everything they released. So
yes, and these films have been necessarily been what is it? The investment was with the expectation that these things would be $1 billion. That's the most important thing here. And when you only have a couple out of the whole bunch that might actually achieve anything close to that, that's real trouble right there.
Well, Vash, let's get into theme parks now as we continue our journey Not into
Please.
imagination, but into the struggles that Disney faces in 2024 and why we think that Nelson Peltz has a better shot in 2025 of getting on that board and with more seats. Vash, this is a video not of a Disney park, but it is out of Japan of what will be coming to Epic Universe next year, and that is the Donkey Kong coaster that will be part of Super Nintendo World. So here is that ride in testing, and it's amazing. It is a roller coaster vehicle on an arm that is bending and twisting that what looks like a little cart, that little mine train, twisting it and bending it so that it feels like you're jumping off the track and doing all of these crazy maneuvers. We've never seen anything like this, and Disney will have no response. So at least they don't have to face Epic Universe this year, but they do have to contend with their only major significant thing is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So Vash, where do you see the parks going this year? Disney World alone drives 1/3 of the entire profits of the Walt Disney Company. How are the parks going to fare in 2024?
Yeah, apparently there was a big CNBC article highlighting Josh D'Amaro's supposed accomplishments as some people vie for him to be the next CEO coming up.
Not going to happen. Josh D'Amaro will not be the next CEO.
I agree. In that article, though, it said that in 2023, the parks products division, or now just experiences, accounted for 70% of the profit for the Walt Disney Company. So Walt Disney World is 1/3 of the overall profit, and the entire experiences division is 70% of the overall profit. For the Walt Disney Company, parks are crucial to the overall mix here, and I think what's really going to hurt them here is lack of...
Hold up just a second. You made a point that we don't need to let go. If Disney World is 30% of all of Disney's profits, and Disney Parks and Experiences is 70%, then that means there's 40% remaining that is the profitability coming out of that, okay? So you know what is the largesse of the rest? The rest of that, Vash, is going to be cruise lines. So Disneyland is profitable. Not anywhere on the same scale as Disney World, but it's profitable.
Agreed.
Disney in Paris, if I'm recalling correctly, gosh, I don't want to throw out a number. It was not impressive. It was impressive compared to where it's been in the past. Not impressive overall. And the Asian parks, okay, so Shanghai and Hong Kong, I don't think they contribute basically anything right now. So it is essentially Disney World, cruise ships, way down the list, Disneyland and Disneyland Paris. But that's where that's coming from. I just wanted to point that out because we don't talk about the cruise lines enough, and we need to say when something is very successful. Disney World and the cruise lines are very successful. They should invest in them. All right, now go ahead, Vash. Sorry.
Oh, I don't disagree at all. The problem, though, is that this investment, this $60 billion figure that we've been hearing, that's coming on the latter half of that 10-year plan right here. You can see those numbers quoted in this CNBC article right here. In 2023, Experiences was the best performing part of Disney's business, accounting for 36% of the company's total revenue, but 70% of its operating income. That's profit, folks. Meanwhile, Disney's entertainment division, which includes its theatrical and streaming businesses, represented 45% of revenue, just 11% of operating income. Interestingly enough, the sales, content licensing, and other, which is that has theatrical within it, that hasn't posted a positive quarter since the Chapek era, actually. I think in 2021 or 2 is when that last was profitable. So it's going to be a little bit rough, folks. And here's the thing, on the West Coast, this is interesting. This might have started to sink in a little bit in terms of the lack of good fortune for the parks, experiences, and parks division, or the experiences division. Because what you can see right here, they launched Magic Keys, I believe about a month ago now. And usually when they launch the Magic Key program for availability, it usually sells out pretty quickly, if not within the first week, in the first few couple of hours or days of that program going back online for sales. And now we are seeing Magic Key placards at the front of both Disney California Adventure Park and Disneyland Park, as the Mouse Planet has said.
You're saying they cannot sell these things enough to sell them out anymore.
Correct. This is the longest period that Magic Key passes have been available for sale since the program debut. That was August of 2021. 2021, as I recall, is when the Magic Key system debuted. And this is the longest time that these have still been available on sale. In fact, you can go right here without any inhibition, no queues or anything like that. You can get the 3 of the 4 Magic Key passes currently right now. And they have placards in front of the park. I have not seen that for about 20 years, because about 15 years ago or so, that number for annual pass holders at the Disneyland Resort crested above the 1 million mark, and that's when it was like, okay, maybe we need to pull back on this program. And so they've had this kind of artificial supply thing that they've done with the Magic Key program. They've sold out. They haven't really sold out, but they've sold out, and now they can't sell enough to satiate the supply that they've allotted for these parks right here. These are the levers that Christine McCarthy was saying that they could, hit at any one time, and now it seems like they've reached their limit here. Also, too, Star Wars Night. I believe that event's coming up.
Scotty.
I know. Star Wars Night, they allowed for 8 nights to be sold. Only 1 has sold out. That is very unusual. Star Wars Night historically has sold out every single night that's been offered, and now we're only selling 1 of 8. Something's happening here.
Vash,
we know discounts are happening in the summer and stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I think you're right. I think Disneyland on the West Coast is going to struggle this year. Disney World, I think, is going to be okay in terms of crowd levels. We've seen that be okay thus far. I think it's going to continue to be okay. Next year is when I think Disney World itself is going to be a problem for Disney, because they have no answer to Epic Universe. I also think that if they open Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and if it is poorly received, I don't think Disney's ready for the kind of blowback they're going to receive on that. They better hope they knock it out of the park with it. They better knock it out of the park.
I'll say this, bro. That $100 ticket offer that they had last summer, and we knew it was a brutal summer last summer. Even Christine McCarthy predicted it was going to be brutal for them. Well, they're doing that summer ticket offer again this year at Walt Disney World, so I'm not so sure if Walt Disney World this year is going to be okay. I really am not. Now, we know what 2025 is going to be like with Epic Universe, but I mean, they just don't have anything new going into their parks for, honestly, it's going to be 4 to 5 years until we get something new.
Oh, yeah, that's what's amazing is when they make these announcements about Beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and what's coming to Animal Kingdom. You're like, yeah, next decade. We've seen how slow you build these things. We've heard you brag about staggering the releases so that it takes 5 to 6 years to build a just normal kind of thing. But Vash, let's go to the streaming side of this. And we'll have to stop here. There are other aspects of Disney sports and whatnot, but I think this will be sufficient. Talking about it being a difficult year, this is out of CBR.com. Here are the 10 big things coming to Disney Plus this year. Some of them already have made their way to Disney Plus, and this is what they have to drive more subscribers, right? And they've got to reach profitability on Disney Plus, although they're not going to now. They're going to strap it onto Hulu and then claim that they reached profitability with their direct-to-consumer, never mentioning that Disney Plus itself is still unable to make a profit despite cutting. So here are the items that were coming to Disney Plus. Percy Jackson, the Olympians. It's been out. I don't think it did much. Monsters at Work. Vash, did you get all excited about Monsters at Work?
This is the first time I'm hearing that it actually came out. I've been hearing a little bit about it, but I it hasn't made a splash on my social media feed.
And it's not going to. Doctor Who, I think, is embroiled in controversy nonstop, so I don't know if that's a win, and I think they spent like mad to get it. The Acolyte, Vash. Are you all excited about Force Fu?
Man, I mean, the most disliked trailer, I believe, for any Star Wars project right now.
That's a big win.
Yeah, I'm not seeing much there.
X-Men 97, I've not watched the most recent episode, but it exceeded my expectations with the first 2. Maybe the first 3. Third one was a major drop. We were going to do a review of it on the channel, but it just doesn't have the viewership for me to support doing individual episode reviews. So that tells you all you need to know about that. Not saying it's bad, folks. I'm saying it definitely outdid my expectations with the first 2, but I cannot generate enough interest to run individual reviews for it. So, Skeleton Crew, that's coming out in November. I don't think so. Agatha. Everybody's been waiting for Agatha, right, Vash? Vash, you just couldn't wait for Agatha to be the next big Marvel property, right? That's the superhero you want.
Which name are they going with now? Is that number 3 or number 4? I can't keep up with that one. That's the only thing I know about this show.
Agatha, Production of Darkness. That's what it's. Yeah.
It might be the right show. I mean, I know Vision. WandaVision did pretty well when that actually came out right there, or at least in terms of like fan enthusiasm, fan reaction for it. Obviously, it trailed off at the end there for sure, but this might be the right show, just delivered too late.
We've got Win or Lose from Pixar. They've been having a great time. I'm sure that'll be fantastic. Tiana is coming back. Now, that might do fine with little girls. Tiana, of course, is a tie-in, a merchandising tie-in with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They want to get you excited to go ride the ride, so they're going to put out a Tiana show. And then Welcome to Wrexham. I don't even know what to say. So that's the list, folks. Are you excited? That's what's coming to Disney Plus this year. Are you on the edge of your seat? You just can't wait. It's no Stranger Things. It's no Squid Games. It's none of that. It's I don't know. It's not even Wednesday. So Vash, that's why we tell people they're going to have a hard time this year. That's why we say Nelson Peltz has a great opportunity next year, a much better opportunity, and he could even go for a majority of the board if he wants to. Because Vash, we're trying to play it down the middle as neutral as we can. When we look at the box office, there's not much there. When we look at Disney parks, we say the only thing you're going to do is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That's not great. And then we look at the streaming side and we say, yeah, there's not much here. And when you look at all of that, folks, you have to come away and say the smoke and mirrors will not work forever for the mouse. Vash, give me your final thoughts on Disney's 2024.
Well, I mean, they're saying that they're going to achieve profitability.
Right, and that's when they'll try to spike the football and get the stock up, but they won't do it. They won't do it just with Disney Plus alone, like they had originally told us.
Right. They won't do it with Disney Plus alone, and they're going to be doing it by omission, essentially. They're going to keep those costs contained in terms of content spend in order to achieve that profitability number right there. So right at the gate, it's like, ooh, we're already seeing some problems right there. Box office, I think it's going to be soft yet again for the Walt Disney Company, unfortunately. And it's terrible to say because just a couple of years ago, they were dominant at the box office and by leaps and bounds. And now it's, they're just going to be lucky to get by without huge losses right there, which is really unfortunate. The parks division is now also suffering, which I think is why they're like, okay, well, we necessarily have to turn on the money fire hose. But I mean, they're so late in that game with rising competition right there. They're going to struggle for 3 to 4 5 years as these things come out right there. They'll have to play with that price elasticity. So I do agree with you, Pro. I think your assessment is correct. 2024 is going to be a very tough year for the Walt Disney Company, and that is going to make Nelson Peltz's case all that much stronger for next year.
That's right. It's the revenge of Main Street taking on Wall Street. Wall Street might get all excited the moment that Disney says they've made a profit on streaming. Main Street continues to say, we're not taking our kids to Disney. We'll see if that holds up. Folks, remember, the barometer is Inside Out 2. If it makes $1 billion, we change the way that we look at this because we like to just be realistic. We like to be honest. So Inside Out 2 is going to tell us what's going on with Disney. Take that, write it down, put it in the book. We will stick to it. And folks, if it doesn't do well, if it's down there in the $400 to $500 million or less, then it is danger, danger, danger. Will Robinson, look out. Everything is collapsing around Bob Iger. But where will that land? We can't say yet. We'll continue to cover it, though. Folks, make sure you go check out That Park Place, the YouTube channel with Vash Sky, as well as the brand new channel launching in just 7 days, That Park Place Podcasts Online. We call it T3PO. And folks, the new design of the website, thatparkplace.com, is on the way. We hope all of you out there are having a wonderful eclipse day. And if you had the privilege of being in a place where the eclipse has happened or will happen, well, it's a real treat. It's a tremendous thing to get to see that sort of thing. I've done it. I've witnessed it. I've enjoyed just how spectacular the what would you say? The entire experiences with the animals, acting so oddly when it happens. It's like everything around you just says, this is something special. And we hope that you have a special day too, folks. Like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, hit the notification bell, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Clickbait. Fraud. Drama queen. Ugh. I wish there was a channel that was 5 to 6 minute news reads without the drama, frauds, and clickbait that could accurately let me know the current news, providing my crucial context utilizing all the different That Park Place contributors and creators.
Well, stupid. There is. It's the That Park Place YouTube channel, which will be going live real soon, so make sure you're subscribed, so you can really stick it to the algorithms.
You're joking.
Nope.
Oh my.
Wow.